Welcome to Nail by Nail, building more than homes. Hi there, I'm Julie Loos. I'm wife, mother, and co-partner in this adventure that we call Loos Homes. So this podcast has been on our heart for a while. You know that feeling when you know God's nudging you to do something and you're like, I don't really want to do this. And God keeps nudging you. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. Well, this podcast has kind of been that way for us. And of course, it just happens to drop in like the busiest time of the year, right before Christmas. We've had some, things going on with the family. So it's kind of been a struggle to get this done. This is, I think, take 3? I have Greg Loos here, my husband. He's joining in the conversation, but each episode of this Nail by Nail, Building More Than Homes, is we're going to talk about what it really means to build a home. But as we all know, a house is a physical structure, but a home is something different. In our company, Loos Homes, we want to build not just a physical home, but the actual home, the place where you find your family. It's where you get connection and community, and our company is built on faith. And just like a house, building it nail by nail. I feel like life is kind of like that. So today, without further ado, I have my husband here, Greg. Talk about how Loos Homes began.
Thinking back, essentially, I used to be a carpenter by trade, and I still love carpentry. There's many days I miss it. And back before I started Loos Homes, I was a framing subcontractor for other home building companies. And as I was going to work day after day, there were just things about how the homes were, the specifications of how they were framed, that I thought the frame of the house is really one of the most important parts, because everything else when a house is built either goes into, on, or installed in the framing of a house. And I just thought that if I were to build homes someday, I would build them differently, like a different skeleton, a different bone structure, if you will.
And I mean, let's let our readers or our listeners know. I mean, I remember you junior year. So I was a year younger than Greg. I remember you junior year, right? Working during the summer as a carpenter.
Yeah. Probably about my sophomore year, I took all the industrial arts classes I could in high school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do for a living. And then probably around sophomore year is when I really started enjoying working with my hands. I knew I didn't want to sit at a desk all day, which is kind of ironic because
you do that.
Now I do that more than working with my hands. But yeah, I just started as a zero skill on a carpentry crew, working part-time in the summer months, my sophomore year in high school.
And did you get your first job? You actually went to a job site where there was a carpentry crew, and you introduced yourself and said you were interested in learning more. And that wasn't the first person that you stopped in. It you took a couple of job sites and then you found a job for the summer months of high school.
Yeah, so it was my senior year in high school, and I knew I wanted to be a carpenter, but I didn't know how to go about finding a job. And I can't remember at the time if the job market was hard or soft. But somebody encouraged me that was older than me. He's like, if you put together a real brief resume on yourself and go find the manager or supervisor on different construction crews and tell them what you're looking for and that you would show up to time on work every day and be hardworking and dependable. He said, if you go to 10 job sites and don't get a job, come back and see me and I'll give you a job as a carpenter. And I think it took about the 4th site and I ended up landing a full-time job.
And I remember just dating, in high school, like I said, Greg just said that was his junior year, senior year. I was a year younger. I remember in the summer you working and just coming over to my parents' house and just falling asleep in front of the TV. But I mean, once you graduated, you and a partner were working for a different company, and then you ventured off on your own. So what year was it when you ventured off on your own?
So in 1997 is when I started Loos Homes, and basically the first home that I built was a spec home, commonly referred to in the industry, and that's essentially a home that does not have a buyer. So you're building a home at a location that you think would be attractive for someone to buy, And a business mentor of mine kind of showed me the ropes on how to track a budget. And then I had to figure out how to hire contractors, which is hard to do when you don't have any track record or name recognition. And then on top of that, I did as much work on the house that I legally could. Like, I framed it, I sided it, I roofed it, I trimmed it to try to create sweat equity in the house. And thankfully, that house sold. I sold it by holding open houses. I was extremely like armpitting out, not feeling like a salesperson. And it was kind of like, here's a home. And it was in Johnson Creek. I remember specifically, I could drive by that house today.
So that's crazy. I mean, and then, I graduated, I was going to college and you were working. We got married in January of 99. And I remember you having, your office started first at your dad's house. And then it was in our apartment. And then it was in our first home. And then we actually finished above the garage and you had your company there. And from there, you've been in so many different spots, moving your company around. But it was just like, as you were working, we were adding kids to the mix. And
yeah, for the first handful of years, it was framing during the day and being a project manager while framing. I remember the first phone being a bag phone in a truck hooked up to the horn. So when the phone rang,
yeah, the horn would beep.
The truck horn would beep, and then getting down off of, walls or wherever it was on trusses. So technology's definitely changed a long way over the time. And yeah, it was physical, carpentry during the day, and then any meetings that needed to be had after a full-time, day on the job site, and then also paying the bills.
Right.
With old-fashioned handwritten checks and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, with a cheap little desk, I think we got at like Office Depot.
Yeah.
And stamps and stickers for the return address labels. And yeah.
So let's talk about, so then how long has Loos Homes been Loos Homes?
So this upcoming April will be 29 years, if I'm doing the math right. So 1997, and then we're coming up on 2026.
And how many homes have you built?
Probably over 1,500 homes. I usually say between Milwaukee and Madison, but the bulk of the homes that we've built have been throughout Jefferson County. And the reason I based the business in Johnson Creek is I always felt that there would be a long time need for people wanting to move out of the two biggest metro areas of the state along the convenience of I-94. And as the years are going by, that seems to be becoming more and more true.
All right, so let's kind of segue into like faith and foundation. Let's talk about our faith. Both of us grew up going to a parochial school for, K through 12, actually. So our faith, we grew up in Christian families, and our faith has pretty much been like the core of both of us, who we are. And I know you bring your faith into every single day of your job.
Yeah. Faith definitely plays a role in business decisions and interactions with people, and I'm the chief of all sinners, so I just want to throw that out there. I am certainly not perfect and need Jesus' forgiveness every day of my life, but I can say that my faith has helped me through a lot of difficult, challenging times where the mountains seemed unclimbable, and somehow, step by step, with a lot of prayer and encouragement from you and other Christian friends, you just take it one day at a time, because you eat an elephant one bite at a time. And sometimes it seems in business that you're kind of trying to eat an elephant, for lack of better terms.
Well, and I just like it too, because I hear so many times that you guys like pray during your meetings, or I just know that a lot of what has happened over the 29 years has been God's hand in that. Even just some of the people you've built for, like you've told me crazy stories about just seeing God work in ways that even just you're based. Our company is based in Jefferson County, but we don't live in Jefferson County. And when we moved, people were like, why are you moving? Your company is back in Jefferson County. And we felt God was asking us to move to a different part of the state. And I mean, some of that has come apparent why, but I don't think we'll get the full picture of why we moved like we moved. But I feel like just trying to be obedient constantly just seems to be like the compass, the north compass of our life. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think God has used us moving from the Jefferson County area, even though we don't live there per se, for the last about 12 years, and the business is located there. He's used that to, I think, kind of overcome some of my workaholic tendencies. I'll admit that I probably battled with some workaholism in the years of building the business. And sometimes you have to take a step back and make sure you're running your business instead of your business run you. And it exponentially gets harder when you are growing a family with little kids and stuff.
But what we talked about too is hard is our kids our kids see you leave for a couple days a week and travel to work, but they don't get to see, like, a lot of times, unless we travel to where your work is, they don't get to see like what dad's doing. Like, they don't get to see like the homes you're building, the communities that you are bringing more homes to. And like we've said, like sometimes that's been hard. You know, like one of our kids has gone into blue collar work, and your business would be perfect for him starting out, but he had to move to a different city in the state just to find the work. And just
yeah, there's challenges to living away from your business. One of the challenges probably as a dad is it's seeming like my work isn't real tangible for our kids to see on a daily, weekly basis. But I'm sure a lot of people can correlate with that, is like, if people work in the medical field, their kids don't necessarily get the opportunity to see what their mom or dad does in the hospital, because it's not like you can take your kids to work every day. So
yeah.
It's overall, I'd say it's been a blessing, but there's certainly some challenges. The biggest thing that has made it work, in all honesty, is having an awesome team of people with great systems that we're continually looking to improve at the company. But it's the team of people that really make it work. And I found that having a team of people on my team at Loos Homes and knowing that they share a common faith, it just shows in their work ethic and how they deal with customers and stuff.
Yeah, we've been blessed with the people that work for you. So let's talk about why Loos Homes builds differently. For those of us who maybe, like for me, I mean, I've been around it enough that I probably know more than the average woman. You know, most people probably don't know this. I mean, and I feel like the one thing that really got me is knowing that some builders don't use plywood in the wall, so you can basically like punch a hole in the wall. So I mean, just explain some of that.
Yeah. So one thing that I've found, and again, going back to why did I start my company, is I wanted to build differently than the builders that I was working for many years ago. And in the world of home building and buying new homes, it's really, really hard for the average consumer to compare apples to apples. To keep it real simple, most home building companies that are building, let's just say, over 50 homes a year, a lot of those home building companies are not owned by a single owner who used to actually work skilled trade. A lot of the companies that we compete with are multiple owner companies that might come from different business degree backgrounds and business backgrounds, but not necessarily, here's a stack of lumber, frame a house from blueprint.
Yeah, because you could actually like really just put on your tool belt and you could actually build the house. Like if you have the time and you had the strength. I mean,
if my body could handle it.
Right. You're a little older than you were then, but you could actually like build like the wooden components of a house and know exactly like what you're doing.
Yeah. So that's essentially when, over the years, and this took a culmination of a lot of many years, but the fact that I have the hands-on experience that a lot of my bigger home builder competitors don't, we like to educate our buyers to show them and not talk about how other homes are built. But for example, our exterior walls is really the outside walls of your home is really the only thing that's between your family and Mother Nature or the city outside or the loud street outside. And to think that I just said I don't want to talk about other builders, but I like to educate our buyers on here's how we frame the outside walls of your home. It's a double layered wall system. It has styrofoam and plywood, so it has strength and rigidity and energy efficiency, and talk about the benefits to their family of that.
So you can't punch the wall, right? Punch through the wall,
throw a baseball through the wall.
Kind of scary.
But what I've had success with over the years is actually educating buyers. When you think about how a home is built, oftentimes when people walk through a home, they'll walk through a model home. And a model home is ooh la la.
Like all the fun stuff. Like I love the table. I love the light.
Decorations and furnishings. And then the builder quotes a base price. So another component of why I started Loos Homes is we want to be transparent and empower people to decide where they're spending their money. So oftentimes what you get in the building industry is a totally like lipsticked up, fancy, glamoury house. But none of the stuff that's catching your eye initially is really included in the house price. What's included in the house price is oftentimes the builder will quote you pencil written base price on a brochure.
And then you want to add all this stuff.
And by the time you get done adding everything,
house is
you don't
way out of your budget.
Right.
Okay.
And then you have a mental image of this model home you walk through. But if you literally snap your fingers and take the furnishings out, the interior designer touches out, and you're left with what you're being quoted a price for, it's kind of a bait switch I felt over the years. And I don't like to sell on bait switches. I like to sell on education. This is why Loos Homes are built this way. And I like it when people shop us out, because when they go shop us out, they're going to find what I've said happen is you walk through a model home and then it's like the base price is not anything close to what...
Show me what I'm actually going to get for this money type of thing.
So we like to quote our prices where it's like, here's the home, here's the price. It's ready to move in on this date. And there's no bait and switch. It is sell from more of the bottom up instead of the top down. So the way we like to present or educate our buyers is we like to walk them through literally a base house. And let's say there's 6 or 7 upgrades in the house. We walk them through the house and show them these items are upgrades from our standard, as opposed to here's a model home and I can't even tell you what's upgraded in it because there's a whole laundry list of things. Mm-hmm. And that's just been effective because it's upfront, honest, and educational for people. And they don't get that experience at a lot of home builders today.
Right. That's so important. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Nail by Nail Building More Than Homes. We hope we gave you a glimpse into who we are, what we stand for, and why we're passionate about the work we do. In the next episode, I think we're going to meet the amazing team that makes Loos Homes what it is and the people who put their hearts into every single home that we build. So be sure to follow Nail by Nail Building More Than Just Homes wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love for you to share it with a friend or a homeowner or someone that you know would benefit from this information. So thanks for listening. And remember that the best things built in life are built nail by nail.